rest.
Can't see anything.
The remains of the plane.
Yes. And there it is. Right where I left it.
On September 24th, 2024, Madison Clydesdale, creator of a channel rooted in solo hiking and quiet wilderness travel, stepped into the deep backcountry of British Columbia, with only her dog, Cairo, beside her. Her goal was simple but unsettling: reach the wreckage of a historic plane crash hidden in grisly territory. The trail itself looked calm enough, but the silence of those mountains carried a weight she couldn't quite name. Madison began her journey driving along rough back roads, pushing deeper into the British Columbia wilderness as she explained her plan to reach the abandoned plane wreck.
I wish I brought my day pack, but we're gonna have to work with what we got. And as usual, into grizzly territory we go. I haven't been in grizzly territory by myself basically all summer, so it is always a little bit nerve-wracking at first. This trail actually has a plane crash. It's a memorial trail at the top. It's one of the largest known plane crashes in the area, or maybe in British Columbia. So we're gonna check out the plane crash. Kiro is so full of energy today. I like the quieter trails so that he can go off leash. These look brand new, these side railings. Okay, I'm coming. This was one of the first areas that I went hiking when I first moved to British Columbia. I was with my mom. You guys would have seen her in some of my other videos, but I got really scared. I didn't know enough about bears, so just got in my head and I started like having a little breakdown on trail. I was just certain that we were gonna see a grizzly. And now look at where we are, almost 3 years later. You guys look. A blueberry. Oh, it's really sour. It's so good. A little burst of energy. Just taking another rest. We've got less than a kilometer left until the top. I could fall asleep right here. I'm wearing new hiking shoes and I didn't pre-tape. I always pre-tape my heels. And it's starting to get a little blister, so I'm just gonna do a little first aid on it.
The solitude grew clearer with every mile, reminding her exactly how far she was from safety. Yet the quiet of the mountains felt like the beginning of something heavier. When she finally stepped onto the trail, Madison and Cairo moved into dense forest, and she admitted the fear she carried, hiking alone in grisly territory. She kept her voice steady, making noise to avoid surprising anything that lived there. But the deeper she climbed, the more that fear began to feel justified. As the elevation rose, so did the strain. Steep grades and long stretches of trail drained her stamina, forcing her to slow down and breathe through the weight of the climb. She pushed on, knowing the wreck was somewhere above. Still, the mountain seemed intent on reminding her that she was being watched by more than the trees.
We made it, and I'm a little sad I didn't bring my camping stuff because there's no one up here. There were some people at the monument when I first got here, but they cleared out, and now there's nobody else up here. It is like a playground, an outdoor playground. I could just run through the rock hills. Kira doesn't want to run with me though because he's tired. But I will say, I feel 100% comfortable right now. As soon as it gets dark, there's a memorial right there. I am going to start hearing ghost noises. I already feel like it's weird to like smile and like it's like a place of rest. I don't know. Is it disrespectful to camp here? There are some tent pads, which I caught the camera. Anyways, there are some tent pads, but we have to get the heck out of here. It's been like 4 hours since I started this hike. No, probably almost 5 hours. And it's about 2 hours down and it's gonna get dark in 3. So, and there's no one else on this trail now. There it is, the remains of the plane. That's the propeller there. R.I.P. Grandpa, it would have been nice to have known you. Grandma always thought of you. That's sweet. Hero. There's a little stream for him here. Got this mountain range on one side, this mountain range on the other. This place is really amazing and it's just all rock. Just love being out here. Oh my gosh, makes me so happy.
At last, the forest opened onto the remnants she came for. Scattered pieces of metal still resting where tragedy had struck decades earlier. Madison stood among them, taking time to reflect in silence. There were no words, only the presence of what remained, and high on that ridge, the stillness carried its own kind of memory. With daylight slipping away, she began her descent, deciding it was safest to leave the mountain before nightfall. She mentioned concerns about her camera, then searched for a place to camp that wasn't known for nightly bear activity. Eventually, she found a spot and settled in, ending a day marked by exhaustion, caution, and quiet reflection. Some viewers noted that Cairo's behavior during the descent resembled reactions dogs have when sensing nearby wildlife, especially in grizzly regions. Others pointed out how remote crash sites often hold an unusual stillness, leaving open the question of what truly lingers in places shaped by tragedy. If she had stayed longer on that ridge, alone with fading light and a silent forest, would the night have unfolded the same way? Or did she leave just moments before something stepped out of the trees? Hold on a sec. If you're enjoying this so far, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Let's continue. On September 25th, 2025, a solo hiker from the YouTube channel Hiking Movie stepped onto the Pacific Crest Trail near Sierra City, California. Her channel usually captures quiet landscapes, trail life, and the small human moments along long-distance routes. But on this day, as she moved deeper into the forest, the calm began to thin. Something in the trees seemed to watch her pace, as if the trail wasn't as empty as it looked.
Welcome to Sierra City, population 225. Yes, the bear did this, trying to get into the ice. You comfortable?
I'm comfortable. Yeah, we're chilling. We're going to the trailhead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people in a 5-person car.
There's another one over there.
Off to the trailhead.
And Arlo in the back.
I'm in the back. Yeah.
And all the packs.
She began her morning in Sierra City, surrounded by a handful of hikers packing into a single car headed for the trailhead. While waiting, she pointed out claw marks on a cooler near the cafe, evidence of how close wildlife wandered into town. It was a simple reminder that the wilderness didn't start at the tree line, a quiet hint of what waited ahead. Hours later, the climb began. From 6,100 feet to more than 8,000, the trail rose through dry slopes and pockets of dense forest. Flies swarmed her pack, and the world around her narrowed into the sound of her breathing and boots grinding uphill. The higher she went, the more the forest seemed to listen. But something else was about to break the stillness.
Going through a little logged area. Man, you can sure see the view. Oh wow, look at this. Hopefully get a better view of it and that waterfall. I felt like I was being watched again, and I definitely was. What a cutie. There must be another one over there. I hear other noises too. You're cute.
I just saw something large moving through the trees. I couldn't tell what it was.
just saw something walking in the trees, but now I'm hearing this meowing. Couldn't see what it was. It was just a movement, and then it disappeared. Well, it got quiet as soon as I started walking and heard crunching, but it was somewhere up there. I don't see anything now, and it's totally quiet. It was moving away though. I could hear it getting farther and farther away. And here's the view on the other side, getting up near the top of the mountain. Still not there yet. I think it's like 6 o'clock. I'm not gonna make it as far as I'd hoped. Oh, great, the trail's turning, going right over where I heard the meowing. Trip on a rock. Coming closer. What are you? I'm a long ways from where I first heard it. Crap. Better not be a mountain lion following me. What the heck? Hey! It's going farther away now. Now it's closer. Dang, what is that? Can't see anything. Oh, I'm gonna keep hiking. Good news and bad news. Good news is I haven't heard it in a while. And also good news is cats don't normally meow when they're
Stalking something, but it's quiet now.
Other bad news is my next camping spot has a bear that comes nightly, so I don't think I'm going to camp there, which means I have to go farther.
Near the ridge, she stopped. A large shape shifted between the trees, too big to be the insects she'd been battling and too quick to ignore. She watched the movement slip out of sight, leaving only the feeling that whatever it was hadn't finished with her yet, and the forest soon confirmed it wasn't done. Then came the sound, a sharp, strange meowing that echoed from the trees, sometimes close, sometimes drifting further away. It repeated again and again, unlike anything she'd heard on the trail. She called out, hoping it would retreat, but the sound continued to answer from different angles. And even when the noise faded, the unease stayed. As daylight thinned, the sounds finally stopped. She reminded herself that cats usually didn't call out while stalking, but the earlier movement still lingered in her mind. When she reached the planned campsite, recent bear reports pushed her to keep going. Eventually, she found a quieter clearing and settled under a fading sky, grateful for the silence, though not entirely trusting it. Some viewers insisted the sound was nothing more than a Douglas squirrel's alarm call. Others argued that the silence of the forest, the shifting shape in the trees, and the repeated vocalizations lined up too closely with larger predators, or something less easily explained. If the noise belonged to a squirrel, then what created the heavy movement she saw before it began? And why did the forest fall so quiet in the moments leading up to it? On November 1st, 2025, inside the vast and silent reaches of Kielder Forest near the Scottish border, the creator of 80 Skid Outdoors set out to find a remote Bothy before nightfall. His channel focuses on solo treks and overnight shelters scattered across the UK. But as the light drained faster than expected, the forest turned his simple plan into something far more unsettling.
Okay, today I've come back to the Kielder Forest in the north of England, right near the border of Scotland. And I'm a bit tired and I'm racing against the dark again because I actually did my last video earlier today where I went and saw the B-29 bomber in the Midlands. And yeah, it took a bit longer to get up here than I thought. And I've probably got about 35 minutes left before the sun goes down officially. But maybe 40-45 minutes of actual daylight where I can see. We'll see. We got to head that way, round a bend, further up with the forest on the right hand side, I think, and then we got to cut through, and that's where it gets a bit sketchy because the satellite image shows a trail that goes to the Bothy on one side, but the OS map doesn't show that trail, so not sure about it. We're gonna have to wait and see. There really isn't a great deal of daylight left now, and I don't want to be potentially going through boggy stuff in the dark, so I need to get going. So for now at least, we've got this lovely logging track. But by the looks of it, at some point you've got to veer off of this to go towards the Bothy. It's not right on this track. It's kind of in the middle of, you know, a grassy area. So that's why I'm thinking it could be boggy. So I've reached the junction that's a bit sketchy. So I've come up the track. It does continue on down there, but this forks off to the right, and I can hear my voice echoing in the forest. That's really creepy. Hello? Oh my god. Anyway, the satellite image shows this road going all the way to the right of the Bothy. But if it goes into the forest now, it's going to be dark down there, so I'm a bit scared about that. Oh, careful not to fall in the ditch down there. There we go. Yeah, hearing my voice echo in the forest then was definitely unnerving.
He started the hike with barely 40 minutes of daylight left, already racing the dusk. The map showed a straightforward route, but the forest canopy felt heavier than expected. Each minute slipped away faster than his pace could adjust, and the pressure to find the Bothy grew sharper with the fading sky. But when he reached the first junction, the night began to complicate everything. The satellite map and the OS map refused to agree. One claimed an open clearing. The other insisted on dense young trees. What stood in front of him matched neither. He pressed forward into a narrow corridor of fresh plantation, the ground soft and uneven beneath his feet. In the deepening dark, even his own voice echoed back strangely between the trunks. Moments later, the forest forced him to make a choice in near total darkness.
I found what looks like the trail, but unlike in the satellite image where it's open ground, it's been planted. That looks like the trail, which is bad news, because it means I've got to go up there. I don't know if it looks maybe a little bit more open further down. Nope, I cannot see anything for trees. There's a little burn here, but it's over here somewhere. It's got to be here somewhere. So I'm just hoping that if I follow this track across this little burn, it'll veer right towards it. It's very dodgy, but anyway, I think we're right on top of it, so it's just gonna have to walk around a bit. It's here somewhere. We're a bit higher now. It's not so boggy. There was a couple of moments where I was a bit scared about sinking, but this definitely looks like something or someone has been this way.
The trail grew wetter, the earth turning boggy in patches he could no longer see clearly. The last traces of twilight vanished behind the tree line, and every step became a calculation between moving forward or sinking into terrain he didn't fully understand. Then, through the thick black ahead, a faint silhouette finally appeared. For the first time since entering the forest, relief cut through the tension. The outline solidified into Flittingford Bothy. Inside, the simple single-room shelter felt like a victory. Wooden platform, an open fireplace, and quiet stillness. Later, he stepped back out to mount a wildlife camera on a nearby log before returning inside to settle in for the night.
There we go. We'll have a proper look around once we've settled in, but I found the place. Oh my god, thank goodness. I'm assuming no one's in. I can't see any light coming from the building, but we'll give it a knock anyway. Hello? Oh, here it is, folks. No one's here, nice and cozy, and plenty of spaces to bed down, and there's an open fire there. So I need to sort myself out. That was getting a bit scary towards the end. Well, skin on my teeth there. Thank goodness there was some kind of discernible track there, otherwise I could have potentially just got lost. Well, somebody's left 4 cans of Stella. How cool is that? I'm not going to drink them there. Got to drive in the morning. So the brand new carbon monoxide alarm up there. This whole bunking area looks fairly new. There's some skylights, plenty of washing lines. It's looking quite tidy, I like it. So, Flittingford Bothy used to be a shepherd's hut until it was abandoned after World War II. It then got swallowed up by the forest and forgotten about, and it was only rediscovered when the trees around it were being harvested in 2014. The roof had collapsed and it looked a bit sorry for itself, but the Mountain Bothy Association decided to take the place on, and in 2016 they started the work needed to turn it into the lovely little cabin we see here now. Right, I've finished my food, but it's late now. It's nearly 9 o'clock already. I washed up everything, so I don't have to worry about that now in the morning. Probably isn't going to be as much of a rodent problem in here tonight, and I've had a couple of videos now with mouse footage, so maybe I'm going to see if there's somewhere where I can put my wild cam outside. But yeah, let's go and see if we can find somewhere to attach it, and hopefully we'll get some results in the morning. Ooh. It is very dark. Could attach it to one of these posts, but it's angled so it'll be pointing up. There are no drain pipes anywhere. Let's go and have a look over here. Yeah, I think there is a drain pipe, but it's on the other end of the building, and I really don't want to wade through that to get to it. Thank you very much. Yeah, I probably could attach it to that, but I don't know if anything's going to come in here. You never know though, it might do. Yeah, I'll put it on there, I think. There we go, I reckon that'll work. Not sure it'll catch anything, but that's not a bad spot. Right, let's go back inside. Yeah, so that felt tight enough on the wood there. Hopefully it doesn't come undone and crash on the floor in the middle of the night and break. But yeah, that's not a bad spot. So if anything comes venturing into the little front yard there, we'll see it, hopefully. So I've turned the main overhead light off now, and I'm just chilling by candlelight and flames from the fire, and it looks so cool, to be honest. Hopefully nothing creepy happens. I am actually going to turn in though. I think it's getting quite late. I'm very tired. I need to get my boots off. Had them on all day long. So yeah, if anything happens during the night, then I'll turn the camera on and let you know as always, but hopefully I'll just get a nice quiet night and sleep like a log, and I'll just see you in the morning. Anyway, good night.
At sunrise, he discovered how tangled and boggy his route truly was, reviewed the camera, catching only a small mouse, and cleaned the bothy before heading toward Fallstone for breakfast. Several viewers noted how disorienting Kielder Forest becomes after dark, and how easily someone could misjudge boggy ground without noticing. The echoing voice and conflicting maps turned his short hike into a narrow margin between confidence and becoming completely lost. If your only guide was fading daylight and echoes bouncing through the trees, would you still push deeper into the forest, or turn back before the darkness made the decision for you? On March 3rd, 2023, in the frozen depths of the Grand Canyon, a hike meant to test endurance nearly turned into something far more dangerous. Dan Becker, known for his outdoor adventures and backpacking content on his self-titled YouTube channel, set out with 2 friends to cross the canyon in winter. But as daylight faded and exhaustion crept in, the canyon exposed a side even experienced hikers rarely speak about.
We started out at the South Rim at about 7,000 feet.
Welcome to the Grand Canyon, my friend.
Wow. The Grand Canyon is a vertical mile straight down. The trail to get to the bottom of the canyon is 7 miles long, so that's a ton of switchbacks, which I normally hike very well down. I don't really have any issues at all. I'm actually pretty quick hiking downhill.
This is the South Kaibab Trail. It's 7 miles. This is the steeper route. We'll make it to the river, and then we're going to go another 7 miles to camp tonight.
That's pretty much it.
That's pretty much what's going on.
Whoa. I was this close to taking off my jacket and my crampons. The wind is just howling on us. And the sand coming out of the canyon is like crazy too.
We're underground. Oh. I hate to say it, but I really feel like we're at a low point of our trip.
Made it to the Phantom Ranch. That's kind of nice. I was feeling good, but then it was a 7-mile trek to Cottonwood. That was another 7 miles of a steady uphill. Not real huge incline, but 7 miles after coming 7 miles down.
Unfortunately, we're probably going to be hiking into the dark when we get to camp. So
That's kind of a bummer.
Emmett, how you feeling?
Decent. I got some ibuprofen in my system.
Pack still hurting, or?
Back's still hurting, but we're making through.
We've hit that part of the night. Whew. Darkness has descended upon us. This trail just keeps going on and on. Good freaking work, dude.
They began their descent from the south rim, stepping onto the South Kaibab Trail as powerful winds pushed against them. Dust lifted from the ground and stung their faces, yet Dan felt steady. Descending had always been his strength. Hours later, they reached Phantom Ranch, unaware that the hardest part of the journey still waited above them. But somewhere between confidence and fatigue, the canyon quietly shifted the odds. From Phantom Ranch, the group pushed toward Cottonwood Campground, a stretch of 7 miles that rose gently but demanded more than Dan expected. Pain spread through his legs, slowing him down until every step felt heavier than the last. Darkness settled early, and the final miles dragged into a quiet struggle Dan nearly couldn't finish. And as night swallowed the trail, something inside him had already begun to fail.
Yeah, here we go. Here we go. We knew that a week or so prior, there was a huge snowstorm that came through that buried the North Rim in snow and could be anywhere from 5 to 10 feet of snow at the top. And so we started the ascent the next morning, which our ascent over about another 7 miles was going to be about 5,600 feet.
To keep going, we can either traverse down below through here. That snow might be super deep. Don't really know. We can take a look and see if we can get behind there.
Woo! That's crazy looking. I think we should get at least one person through first, and then we can pass gear. Good.
That was actually very tight.
I think I'm going to try the low route, and then maybe we could shuffle gears somehow that way. Once we got to about, I'd say, I don't know, mile 3.5, that's when we were realizing the depth of the snow that we were getting in. How deep do you think the snow is?
I mean, we're definitely standing at least on top of 5 feet of snow.
There were times we didn't even know if we were on trail. We had to look at a map on our phones to guide us, to tell us if we were even on a switchback, and to find out when the switchback was even going to kick back the opposite direction. So Eric, Jake, and Emmett were probably 5 or 6 switchbacks up ahead of me. This whole trek was, nobody had done this yet. There wasn't a single marking in the snow that gave any sign of anybody else having been there since the snowfall probably a week prior. Started to develop some really serious chest pains. They were coming in waves, on and off. Sometimes they would last 10 seconds, sometimes they would last 10 minutes. And then about 2 miles from the top, it was as if someone had flipped a light switch off in my body, and my body was like, we're done. We're not moving any farther. There's no way we're gonna keep doing this. I was scared to death. It was dark now, pitch black. Temperature was around 20 degrees Fahrenheit, and all of a sudden I see a headlamp coming back towards me, and it was Eric coming back down and was not wearing a backpack. And he looked at me and he says, "Are you okay?" And I said, "No." He said, "Give me your backpack." And it was at that moment I completely broke down. It was humbling because no hiker wants to give somebody else their backpack. They want to finish the hike with their backpack on. But I knew that I was incapable of moving without handing him my backpack. We probably hiked maybe 4 switchbacks, 5 switchbacks up to where he had dropped his backpack. And so obviously I knew at that moment I was gonna have to grab my backpack back. We thought we were gonna make it to the top of the North Rim by about 5 or 6 p.m. We didn't get there till after 10 p.m.
The next morning, they climbed toward the North Rim, breaking trail through snow that rose from 5 to 10 feet deep. No tracks, no guidance, only an endless white slope pulling strength from their bodies. 2 miles from the top, sharp chest pain hit Dan in waves, draining what little he had left. Eric doubled back to help carry Dan's pack as they reached the rim hours later than planned. Yet even on solid ground, the danger refused to let go.
It's probably
Getting close to 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't think I've slept at all. I'm having severe chest pains all night long.
So, it's 5 in the morning. Dan's not doing good. He was struggling coming up the trail. Got him into bed. He slept, passed out real. I think we need to call somebody.
Like 911, where's your emergency?
Hi, I'm at the North Rim Trailhead, just outside of Jacob Lake. Well, last night, and my buddy is in distress. He's got some pretty severe chest pain. I think we might need to get him out to some sort of help.
Just a moment for me. I'm gonna get somebody paged out to you, okay? This is 911.
Yeah.
I'm letting you know that we do have a single ranger on location at the North Rim who is responding.
Okay.
That there's no ambulance service out of the park. The only way out of the park from that location would be air ambulance if it's necessary.
Okay.
Take your time, man.
I'm doing a lot better. Yeah, they got an IV in me. They give me like drugs, which is super good.
So Dan will not be continuing the journey with us here on the Grand Canyon.
At a hospital, and right now they're saying that I have severe muscle breakdown, and it could be affecting my kidneys.
And it's called
rhabdomyolysis. It's when you overexert yourself to the point where your muscles begin to break down. They release a toxic protein that then goes and destroys your kidneys.
By 4 a.m., Dan lay in his tent near the North Rim trailhead, unable to sleep, fighting pain that grew tighter with every breath. An hour later, the group used their satellite device to call for rescue. Snow blocked all access, forcing a plow to cut through nearly 20 miles so paramedics could reach him. At the hospital in Kanab, Utah, doctors discovered the cause, rhabdomyolysis, a silent breakdown of muscle that could have shut down his kidneys. Dan remained hospitalized for days, beginning a slow recovery. Several viewers with medical and rescue experience warned that symptoms like Dan's often escalate long before hikers realize it. Former rangers and survivors echoed the same message. Most people push past the moment they should have stopped. And in winter, that hesitation becomes dangerous fast. One comment pointed out something unsettling. Many hikers never notice the exact moment their body begins to fail. It raises a quiet question. If the pain had struck miles earlier in the darkness, would rescue even have been possible? On June 1st, 2024, high in the Inyo Mountains of Eastern California, Brent from Ghost Town Living set out alone on a path almost erased by time. His channel often uncovers abandoned mining camps and forgotten settlements, but this journey along the old Lonesome Miners Trail carried a heavier atmosphere. Each mile drew him deeper into landscapes shaped by people who once worked, struggled, and then vanished, leaving the mountains to hold their stories.
So this hike is hard. I'm at about 3,700 feet in elevation right now. What I'm going to try to get to by tonight is 9,700 feet. And I know it's hard because I actually tried this hike about 5 months ago. And I did this first day. I got up above 9,700 feet and my backpack broke. And my hope, kind of the crux of this whole hike, that those items are still there. The second big issue with this hike is water. Obviously I can't hike in enough water for 4 or 5 days, so I need to rely on these springs. And because very few people do this hike every year, there's not very good information about the status of these springs. So I really need to find these springs, which I don't know exactly where they are, and I need those springs to have water. I'm up near 6,000 feet now, so we're climbing pretty steadily. All right, I'm at about 7,000 feet in elevation now. I am a little concerned about the speed at which I'm going. It has just been a slog up these hills so far. The pack's feeling pretty heavy. All right, I'm closing in on 8,000 feet in elevation, and the trail's getting a little bit harder to find, but I just saw this, also known as a cairn. So a cairn is a stack of rocks that other hikers have left to indicate, hey, this is the trail. There's something a little comforting if you see a small cairn along the way. All right, I am up over 9,000 feet in elevation now. There it is, Saline Valley. This is just stunning. So now, the next step in this process is to find my stuff. If this isn't here, then this is the end of my hike. Once again,
Yeah, this is the rock I thought about putting it in. And then somewhere lower, I ended up throwing it in a tree. There we are, baby. Yes. Yes. And there it is. Right where I left it about 5 or 6 months ago. Oh man, this is so heavy. Yes! The hike can continue. This is awesome. This is gonna make the whole thing possible right here. All right, we have the Jetboil, a jacket, a tripod, a sleeping bag and a waterproof bag, an air pillow, an air pad, some ginger fried rice with beef.
Brent began his climb from the foothills, pushing upward toward the supply bag he had hidden 5 months before. The ascent from 3,700 feet to nearly 9,700 tested every step he took. When he reached the narrow rock crevice where he had stored his pack, it was still there, untouched, dry, exactly as he left it. It felt as if the mountain had guarded it, waiting for his return. But what waited farther ahead held the real echoes.
Here's one of Pat Key's cabins, and this is where he was spending his days. There's still some remnants of him. There's his canteen, there's a blasting caps tin. We're gonna go peeking into his mine. You can see this is the California Cap Company, XXX. What remains of his life. There's a bunch of tins, some piping. On the road again. The path is gonna be much less defined. Each day the path's gonna be harder to find, but each day we're getting to a bigger and bigger mining camp. Right now, I am needing to go down this valley you see in front of me and ideally find a spring as well as the mill site of Pat Key's. You can see along the bottom of the canyon the bright green trees, which must be where the water is. I'm getting closer to the canyon floor. Ooh, we got ourselves our first sign of humans. Oil. Pat Key's is down here somewhere. I see some wood. We see some signs of humans. Old camp for old Pat down here by the mill. There's a lot of remnants from the past here, like this. I don't know what it is, but is that for some type of mill? Getting myself down here was one thing. Imagine getting all these pickaxes they had to have down here. We got a little knife, a ladle, fireplace, pan. I don't even know what's in there. I don't want to open it. It's so peaceful here. Old saw, books, little pans, little trail down to the spring. Look at that. Running water way out here. That is awesome. And here we go. This is Pat Key's mill, otherwise known as an arrastra. It's a primitive mill that's used to grind and pulverize the rock. So imagine flat rocks on the bottom, a circle like this, throw the ore in, and you basically are just dragging around a circle. So something would have walked around here. Sometimes that could be a human, sometimes it could be a mule, sometimes it could be steam powered. Turn the rocks in a circle, and that's gonna grind up your ore. And this is a method that's been done since.
Not long after, he found the stone cabin once used by Pat Key's in the late 1800s. Inside were remnants of the miner's daily life. Containers, blasting caps, worn tools, resting exactly where they had been placed generations earlier. Continuing down a steep valley, he reached a small stream and discovered an arrastra carved into the ground, where ore had once been crushed. The scene felt strangely recent, though no footsteps had touched the dust in decades.
Well, we're not quite all the way down into McElvoy Canyon yet. This, I want to say it's part of a stamp mill, some type of pulverizer. It's very heavy yet solid. I read reports that Pat Key's would bring his ore over here for refining. My favorite part of going to these very obscure places is seeing signs of human life and trying to understand why those people were here. You know, there was McElvoy Canyon. That is why people knew it. But these days, this canyon is much better known for a beekeeper. A beekeeper way out here, a few days hike from the closest town. So I think in the 1980s, some people started researching the area. They were hiking up from the Saline Valley side, and they found these waterfalls. These were 100-foot, 200-foot waterfalls, and in these waterfalls were these crazily constructed ladders made out of twine and wood that are going right up the waterfall, insanely dangerous. So people started thinking, what is going on here? They made it up further in the canyon. They found some huts, and these huts had beekeeping equipment in them. It had the helmets, the nets, the little smokers. What in the world? What is somebody doing beekeeping? And then finally, in the 1990s, they tracked him down. The beekeeper of McElvoy Canyon, and his name was Marion Howard. In the 1960s, he started just coming into this canyon. So this man was determined, and throughout all of those travels, he never used a pack mule. It was just him and a canvas duffel sack.
Over here we have one of his smokers. That is so cool. That's how you smoke out the bees. Oh my God. Oh, one of his beekeeper nets keep the bees out. I think these would have been for the honeycombs. These would have been the trays that are sat inside of the comb. And some straw. It looks like this was his bed. You can see there's canvas down. He brought in a bunch of straw to act as his bed. And there's his canvas duffel sack, like I read about. The clothes are still in the canvas sack. He wasn't lying. I've read about this story for so long, and now to be out here and see this place, it's just so cool. That makes the whole trip worthwhile for me.
The trail then dropped into McElvoy Canyon, a deep, rugged corridor. Brent spoke of Marion Howard, the reclusive beekeeper who lived there from the 1960s to the 1990s. At his abandoned camp, tools for tending bees were still arranged in familiar positions, and a canvas bag of clothing remained undisturbed. Nearby, a hidden waterfall fed a lush patch of green, an unexpected softness surrounded by silence that hinted at long-forgotten routines.
We are just starting to get into the Keenot mining district. As we get further down, there was a mining operation that tried to get this going again, I believe in the 70s or 80s. Wow! And look, as we're going down towards that mining equipment, what we have. We got track, and on the track, 4 carts, multiple. That is so cool. Does it move on the track? That would be so freaking... It does! Now where is this coming from? I assume a mine. Sheet metal, easy building material. So all of this more mining equipment here in the Keenot complex was brought in. There's a company called the Far West Exploration Company, and they helicoptered in this recovery plant. So imagine helicoptering all of this in. And they planned on building a road into here and doing all of these things. They lasted less than a year, and then they had to get out of here. The problem was water. But I love the fact that these belts are still on. The things are still here. That is crazy. I don't even know, what is this? I don't know the answer to this, of how a bulldozer like this would get in here. This thing must weigh 20, 30,000 pounds. It's also interesting to think that somebody parked right here almost 40 years ago now. Tiny trails, really hard trails to get in here, and you have this. Now we're off to Beveridge, the most intact, the most isolated ghost town out there. And here it is, Beveridge Canyon. Before we know it, we're down to one of the tram stations. You can kind of see the little car up there, all the way down to here, all the way down into the canyon where the water is and the stamp mill is. Once was down at the end of the tramway, way down in the canyon, the beginning of Beveridge. The outhouse to nowhere. Look at what this thing is supported by. It's supported by a branch. That is something else. So this is the stamp mill, and you can see it has those poles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now the bottom are very heavy mallet, basically. These wheels, most were constructed, I believe, probably on site, because unlike the Keenot mine, all this was built in place and lived here. And right next to it is a boiler. So I imagine this is creating steam to power this wheel to crush all the ore they needed to crush. So down in here, there we go. Home sweet home where the water's flowing. Hello? Is anyone home? Oh, we're back. Old Frenchie's cabin. A classic where I spent some good days a couple years ago. Looks about how I left it. Spent some good nights on these beds. This is your view. Pretty nice.
As Brent continued toward Keenot, he found rusted ore carts still perched on their rails. Beyond them were machines left behind in the 1980s. A bulldozer, a generator container, and heavy equipment placed in locations accessible only by helicopter. Near the furnace and crucible used to process ore, time felt tangled, as if work had stopped suddenly and no one had returned to finish the job. Reaching Beveridge, the largest ghost settlement, he walked beneath tall tramway towers and past the peculiar outhouse suspended over empty space. The towering stamp mill still stood, its heavy chutes rusting in the quiet. Finally, at Frenchie's cabin, hidden in wild rose bushes, Brent ended his 4-day trek reflecting on the history scattered across these mountains and the strange stillness preserving it. Some viewers wondered how so many artifacts could remain untouched. Carts on rails, tools arranged neatly, clothing left in bags. Their comments raised an unsettling question. Did people leave these places slowly? Or did something make them go all at once? As Brent walked away from the final cabin, the silence seemed to linger behind him. If everything was left exactly where it belonged, who placed the last item down? And why did they never return? On April 11th, 2025, deep in the Tennessee mountains, the creator behind Dead Appalachia set out to locate a long-abandoned prison mining outpost, one worked by convicts nearly a century ago. His channel usually uncovers forgotten structures and Appalachian history, but this place held something heavier. The forest felt unsettled, the trail unpredictable, and the silence lingering around him didn't just belong to the past. It felt like something was waiting.
Howdy critters, welcome back. I'm Mr. Appalachia, and we are here in the mountains of Appalachia exploring an abandoned prison outpost. Yeah, I am getting well and truly soaked right now. Luckily, all the clothes I'm wearing right now should dry quickly in the car. Feral hogs active in this area. Control measures may be in place. Do not approach control devices or animals. This place has changed quite a bit since I've been here. There's some man-made structure, so I think we're getting to the right place. There have been some major washouts and floods since I came here last. The entire trail is just bowled over with trees and debris that I'm gonna have to climb through to get to the prison. All right, we found our first signs of human structures. We got like a concrete kind of box right there, and we got the very first of the mines. Let's go check it out, huh? Oh Lord, I hope there's nothing in here that's gonna attack me. I'm sure I'm gonna have to brighten this up, but yeah, the water's flooded in here in this part of the mine. But am I gonna go in there? Absolutely fucking not. There's a foul smell coming from in there, so I don't know if it's gonna be toxic or if I'm gonna get collapsed on with all this rainwater. Some power lines going down that way towards the penitentiary. Goes further up that way. I'm a little concerned that I'm actually supposed to be up there, because I don't remember that. I think I was supposed to go up that way, so if I don't find the prison down here, I'll just climber up that way. Yeah, I think it's safe to say that I went the wrong direction. Yeah, I reckon what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna climber up that mountain to where I'm pretty sure I was supposed to go, and we'll just continue the exploration from there. Now, let's talk options, all right? What I could do is go all the way back there, get back on the trailhead, and go up the safe way. But I think y'all already know the way that I'm gonna choose. Fuck it, let's do it live. Oh, this is gonna be some steep shit. Halfway up there, there's the other half, the steepest half. Okay. we up here. Oh, we really climbed all that, huh? I think this right here is the trail where we're supposed to go. So we're just gonna keep going. There's another structure up here. This definitely wasn't here last time. So I'm definitely still lost. I can't even begin to imagine what this might have been used for. All right, I have consulted with the GPS guru. I'm not supposed to be up here. I'm not supposed to be down there where I was. I was supposed to be on that third landing way, way, way down there. That's the one that leads to the prison outpost. So I just wasted like an hour going somewhere I'm not even supposed to be. All right, we're where we're supposed to be. Check her out. More support beams, more structures. And then right here we have one of the actual mines. The last time I was up here about a year ago, this was metal bars that went vertical. So someone had like hit it and made it to where you could climb through. But it looks like since then they rectified that. Just all this rock and the water dripping off is really cool.
He began by pushing into dense Appalachian woods, where the first sign he met wasn't historical. It was a warning about feral hogs. Flood damage had twisted the landscape, scattering debris and erasing parts of the trail. When he finally spotted the first mine opening, the air was thick, wet, and unpleasant. He refused to step inside, aware of how unstable it had become. Yet even turning away didn't ease the feeling that the forest was watching. But the real shift happened when he realized the woods had quietly sent him in the wrong direction. By the time he noticed he had drifted off the correct path, turning back no longer made sense. Instead, he clawed up a steep hillside, an exhausting shortcut meant to reconnect with the old route. Only after regaining the trail did he realize more than an hour had been swallowed by that mistake. When he reached the outpost, the first structure waiting for him was a mine entrance sealed with fresh panels, replacing the loose bars that once stood here. It looked less abandoned and more intentionally hidden, but the most imposing structure was still ahead.
Hey, all right, folks, here we are. We are officially at the outpost. Hazardous area. Yeah, I'd reckon. That's the main mine, I'm gonna reckon, because that one's the one that's right by the outpost. That one probably gave them the most coal to use. They'd have some guards down there, and they'd have a guard right there with a rifle. They'd mine there, so that's where the guards were with their guns, protecting the area, making sure none of the inmates tried to run away while they hauled them up here. So just like with the other one, it used to be vertical bars instead of these horizontal, and you could actually kind of get in there. I don't know if you can see it very well with the GoPro light, but up there it looks like they caved it in. They collapsed it using explosives so people couldn't get in there and explore. So that's kind of a bummer, but I guess I can get why they did it. They don't want folks coming in here and getting hurt in a cave-in or something and then having to pay out insurance money. And they got this thing locked down tight. Just look very closely. You see the wall right there? It is bending outwards. And I'm gonna be really sad on the day that it finally collapses. We got more stone structures here. I ain't quite sure what this would be used for. It's very low to the ground. Maybe this was just foundation and there was a larger structure on top of it. So, this right here, it's a stone brick structure. It has a very low opening. They theorize that it's designed so when this thing blows up, I just can't remember which it was, but supposedly this structure is designed in a way to where it explodes in a more optimal direction for human survival. All right, here's another structure. Again, this may be for munitions, or maybe this was just their john. Yeah, this has been eroded and risen up here so much you can't even open it correctly.
Near the outpost stood the main mine tunnel, its entrance destroyed with explosives long ago. And perched above everything was the guard tower, locked, wrapped in wire, and slowly buckling outward as its concrete sagged with age. He moved through the remaining foundations, taking in what still survived. When he finally backed away from the site, he carried the same thought many viewers would later share. Everything here looked abandoned, yet strangely maintained. The sealed tunnels and reinforced barriers raise a quiet question. Are they preserving history or preventing access? Comments suggest both possibilities. Some see protection, others sense concealment. In a place once run by force, its silence feels deliberate. If the outpost has been abandoned for decades, who keeps closing it off? And why does every barrier look newer than everything around it? Two women were hiking in a Canadian forest when they found a huge metallic object sitting between the trees.
There's lights on the left. Don't go close. I'm trying to die. That's a metal slate. What?
It shapes like a mushroom.
Why?
You see it? Yeah.
Oh, it's yeah, because it has trees on top of this.
It even seemed to have lights on one side and trees growing over part of it. They didn't get any closer and left quickly. Later, they showed the footage to friends who went to check the spot themselves. But the object had vanished. No marks, no tracks, nothing left behind. They searched online and asked locals, but no one knew what it might have been. When the story was posted online, many people had the same thought. It looked like a UFO. While digging a grave, a worker uncovered something unsettling.
Hell? So I'm digging this grave, right? I just pulled up the last 2 pieces of grass. And look at this. No freaking way. And there's a photo in there. Dang, man, that is crazy as hell. Look at that nasty goo falling out of there. Ugh, stinks too. Holy smokes. Somebody came and buried this shit. Oh my gosh. You see the sick things people do? This was in somebody's grave that we're digging right now. I pulled that up with the last 2 pieces of grass. Unbelievable. Disgusting. Man, that is creepy as hell.
Beneath the last layer of grass was a small container filled with foul-smelling goo and a photo inside. Someone had clearly buried it intentionally. Shocked, the worker called it one of the creepiest things he'd ever found. Whether it was some form of voodoo or something else entirely, he realized he hadn't just turned up dirt that day. He had uncovered something meant to stay hidden. A young man was snowboarding alone on a quiet mountain when he suddenly noticed something odd. A woman standing perfectly still among the trees. Startled, he stopped and looked back, but she had vanished. The spot where she'd been was empty, with no footprints in the snow. He later shared the video online, but no one could explain who, or what, he actually saw that day. A man retrieved his trail camera to see if it had caught any wildlife, but while scrolling through the clips, he froze. One recording showed 3 strange figures covered in what looked like fur, branches, or straw. No one knows who, or what, they were. Were they people dressed for some kind of ritual, or was there another explanation for what his camera captured deep in the woods? In 2009, a climber named Jesus Olivares visited Pico de Orizaba with friends, one of the tallest and most dangerous peaks in Mexico. The mountain felt unusually quiet until he began hearing faint voices carried by the wind. He dismissed it at first as the altitude. Later, after posting his photos online, someone commented, "Nice picture, but who's the kid in the background?" When he zoomed in, a child's face appeared in the fog, even though only adults were on the climb, and none of them were in that spot. Whatever it was, it didn't look like a rock. Kev from Kev's Outdoor Adventures went camping with his dog Chow on Hunter's Hill in Cumbria, near the Old Corpse Road, once used to carry bodies to burial, and home to the drowned village of Mardale. Locals say footsteps and horses can still be heard at night. That night, Kev woke to slow, heavy steps moving around his tent.
Sounds like someone's outside. They're walking about. I know it's windy, but looks at. I didn't know if you can pick it, you can hear it or not. Right guys, I'm going to turn this light off. I'm going to try and get some sleep. I know it's windy, but just sorry those footsteps outside as well. Can't hear it now, like, but knowing you feel like people walking around in long grass, makes it a rustling sound. That's what it was like.
The sound circled him, too steady for wind, too heavy for wildlife. Yet when he checked, no one was there. At sunrise, he packed quickly, uneasy despite joking on camera. Maybe it was just the wind, or maybe something old still travels that road. A group of hikers was deep in the forest when they noticed something moving between the trees. They pulled out a camera and recorded a tall, heavy figure walking slowly through the woods.
Oh my God, do you see that? Yeah. Keep it steady, keep it steady. It's huge. I think it's looking this way. Don't move. Oh, it's walking, it's leaving. I got it. Hold on.
Some people believe it was just someone in a costume, or even an AI-generated clip, while others think the footage is genuine. With no details given, no date, no location, nothing, the video does feel suspicious. And with Bigfoot sightings, you can never be sure what's real. In October 2021, Lomar Menz from Paranormal Discovery explored an old house with a friend. As they moved through the dark rooms, strange noises echoed around them.
Creaky.
And their camera light began acting up. Soon they felt convinced someone else was inside.
Oh shit, someone's here.
You serious?
Be quiet, turn the light off.
When they spotted a figure in the next room, they ran and heard footsteps chasing them.
Come on. I'm getting out of here. Follow me right now.
Where's that coming from? Babe!
I don't know.
Someone's running!
Thankfully, it turned out to be someone they knew playing a frightening prank. A hiker exploring the Canadian wilderness noticed movement in a gap along the mountainside and began filming. As he got closer, something appeared in the opening, a pale figure with large dark eyes, a prominent forehead, and no visible nose. Startled, he backed away and left. The footage is unclear, leaving viewers to wonder what he actually encountered. While hiking near Shaver Lake, California, a Facebook user found a clump of hair about 15 to 20 feet up in a tree, far higher than most animals could reach. They had to use a truck and a ladder to pull it down. The area had recently burned, so they wondered if the hair came from an animal fleeing the fire, or possibly even a Sasquatch. They contacted the Bigfoot Museum in Felton, but never got a response. Eventually, they threw the hair away, something they now wish they had kept for testing. A woman who drives a remote mountain road to reach her home snapped a photo after noticing something near the roadside one night. The image is dark and blurry, but it seems to show a figure standing in the trees. She wondered if it could have been a ghost, or just a stump she'd somehow never noticed before. Whatever it was, that lonely road already feels like the perfect setting for a horror movie. In the woods near Olympia, Washington, a Reddit user heard strange cry-like sounds echoing through the trees. They tried to get closer but couldn't see anything. Later, people suggested it might have been a goat, a fox, or a coyote. Hopefully, it was nothing more than that. A group of friends went ghost hunting for fun on an old Civil War trail in North Georgia, filming a playful TikTok as they joked around. But when they listened back later, the audio revealed something strange they hadn't noticed.
Okay, is that you?
What's our temp reading? Wait, it's still going off like crazy.
Is that you making everything go crazy? Yes.
You heard what?
It's 68 now.
It's rising.
It's rising like crazy. That's
Look at
crazy.
the rods.
Oh my god. Are you walking around? It said yes.
Their equipment reacted wildly, and faint barking could be heard in the distance. Just before the clip ended, children's voices echoed through the woods. The group insisted they hadn't seen or heard anything at the time, leaving them wondering who or what was making those sounds in the dark. Someone was outside when they noticed lightning and began recording. Suddenly, a disc-shaped object seemed to form in the clouds. No one could say what it actually was. Some believed it was just an odd cloud formation, while others were convinced it was something far more unusual, maybe even something not from this world. A Facebook user shared 2 trail camera photos taken less than an hour apart, both showing the same quiet spot in the woods. The area was once part of a colonial settlement in upstate South Carolina, where most of the settlers were killed long ago before soldiers from Fort 96 escorted the survivors out. In one of the images, a faint figure seems to appear, something that hadn't been there before. The poster ended by saying, "I know what I see, but what do you think?" A Reddit user was hiking through an old 1930s landfill when he spotted something unusual, a jawbone partly buried in the dirt. Unsure if it was human, he posted a photo online. Some thought it looked alarmingly real, while others said the shape seemed wrong. Eventually, a dental student chimed in and identified it. Not human at all, but the jawbone of a pig. A man in Guatemala, known as Elvis Channel, was digging in his yard when he uncovered a smooth, egg-shaped stone.
Miren muchachos lo que encontré. A ver, agarra. Ah, venga a ver lo que encontré. Mire. Rebotó la pioche, mire. Mire. Bien hechecita está, man. Mire. Oh, la gran puchi como pesa, ¿no? Una piedra bien redonda en la tierra. Mire. Ey, esto hay que ponerlo así como un... ¿Cómo se dice? No, hombre, no. Como... es una roca bien elaborada, ¿no? ¿Sabes quién la dejó ahí? Ahí está, ¿ves? Como tronó mi pioche ahorita que le pegué su cuentazo, hasta me dolió la mano, mira. Miren, muchachos, estábamos escarbando aquí, ¿ve? Donde va a ir el zanjeado para poner la pared y lo que encontré. ¿Sí? Mira, el tío Ronald me está grabando bien. ¡Ay, cómo pesa, mano! ¡Ah! Chicos, vamos a ir a lavar esta piedra a ver si... Se ve igual, todo sucio.
It looked unusually perfect, almost too round to be natural, so he posted a video online asking what it might be: a fossilized dinosaur egg, a geode, or something else. When he cracked it open, the interior didn't reveal much. Some viewers claimed it looked ancient, others said it was just a regular rock. Most likely it was only a stone, but no one can say for sure. A woman living deep in the Pacific Northwest woke early at sunrise and noticed something odd near the tree line outside her home. When she zoomed in, she saw what looked like a person in a classic witch outfit standing motionless among the trees. What unsettled her even more was how isolated the area is. No one in costumes should be out there. Then it got stranger. An object nearby appeared to lift off the ground, sending her into a panic before the recording abruptly ended. Was she actually looking at a witch? 2 men ventured into an old uranium mine in Uzbekistan. They kept moving farther inside until they reached a massive vertical drop that seemed to have no bottom. They leaned forward, trying to see how far it descended, when suddenly this occurred. A sharp metallic crash erupted, followed by a shrill, echoing scream rising from the darkness. They froze where they stood for a second before bolting out, abandoning everything they had with them. Later, someone online suggested it might have been shifting air or metal giving way, but others are convinced something still inhabits that mine, something beyond normal explanation. I can imagine it felt very clear they weren't down there alone. Years before Bucks became well known on YouTube for his Omegle content, he recorded a visit to St. Leonard's Forest, a location rumored to be haunted by a headless spirit. He and his friends first checked out an old church surrounded by gravestones, then planned to enter the forest around 2 a.m.
So sketchy. Just is. Like we turn left, I'm assuming. So I'm guessing that's it down there. Do you reckon? Yeah, that's how you get in. That's the entrance. Fuck.
There's a parking spot.
Around here.
There's a car there.
There's a car there.
Is there actually?
Yeah.
That's not good.
Shit. So that car that you saw was, we don't really know, but we're back in town, we're going to wait for a bit, and then we're going to head back out.
When they arrived, they noticed a car nearby, which immediately made them uncomfortable, so they decided to head back into town and return later. An hour passed, and at around 2 a.m., they went back and began their exploration. Before long, unsettling noises echoed through the woods.
That's not a dog. There's literally no houses around. It's a circle. It's like a
shit, like a fire.
Yeah, they put something here, and then they'd all sit around in a circle. Nah, this is not what this. I do not feel comfortable. Like, I don't know about you, but I'm just not getting a good vibe from here at all. Whereas back there, I wasn't that bad, but right here in this place, we're getting to open space. This is like territory for like cults, and you know what I mean. Like, this is danger territory right here. Yeah, if someone was to set up a cult, it would be on like flat, open ground like this, right? I'm getting really hot and uncomfortable.
They found what looked like a cleared area.
I don't know, I'm just out of breath. I don't like this.
Nah, fuck that. No. This isn't even a joke anymore, man.
Oh, shit. Oh, there's another car, there's another car there. Get the There's another car, get him. Shit. Get him.
Where something had recently been placed, arranged in a circle, giving them a bad feeling. As they moved farther in, the space opened up, and the atmosphere felt even more threatening, like the type of place where people might hold strange gatherings. The group grew more uneasy as the tension built. Then something appeared to peer out from behind a tree. They sprinted toward their vehicle, only to discover another car parked right next to it. It left them wondering whether someone was deliberately trying to scare them, or if something far more unnerving was happening in the forest that night. Late one night, a woman noticed unusual noises coming from behind her home. Assuming it was some kind of animal, she picked up her phone and traced the sound to an old well. That's where she saw it, something that didn't appear human. She sprinted back to her house in fear, never turning around. Whether real or staged, the footage is undeniably unsettling. In 2012, Charles Taylor was hiking near the Norway-Sweden border. When he reached the 200-meter summit, he started recording the scenery, a secluded lake, completely still, with no visible wildlife. But as the camera swept across the water, something unusual showed up.
What's the pace for you guys up front?
Dude, it just broke into two now.
Maybe it's two
Now it's
mating
gone.
snakes. Do they mate? Yes, everything mates.
Nope, now it's started up again.
Dude, I'm pretty sure it's ice.
Pretty sure ice doesn't move that quickly.
Wait a minute now.
No. It's making like S turns. It's moving pretty quick. And then it disappears. And then reappears.
A bright shape moved quickly across the surface, splitting and reappearing in a strange pattern. Charles wondered if it could be drifting ice, a small boat, or even some kind of animal. But no boat could access that lake. The motion was far too fast for ice, and the behavior didn't match anything familiar. Years later, no one has been able to explain what Charles actually filmed that day. This black and white photograph shows Barbara Kent and her friends cooling off in a river near Ruidoso, New Mexico, during the summer of 1945. At first glance, it looks like a carefree moment from a childhood camp, but behind their smiles, a devastating story was beginning. On July 16, 1945, the world's first atomic bomb was detonated at the Trinity site, only 40 to 50 miles away. The explosion lit up the pre-dawn sky and jolted the girls awake in their cabins. Hours later, white particles drifted down across the mountains. Thinking it was snow in July, the campers ran outside in swimsuits, laughing as they tasted the flakes and wiped them across their faces. Barbara later recalled finding them odd, warm rather than cold. Without knowing it, they were standing in radioactive fallout. Officials blamed an ammunition blast and insisted nothing was wrong. No warnings were issued, and no one was moved. Of the 12 girls at the camp, Barbara Kent was the only one who lived into middle age. Most of her friends died young, many before 40. Kent herself faced 4 different cancers throughout her life, and her teacher and mother, who stayed nearby during the camp, also died from cancer. The photo of Barbara and her friends, once a happy moment, now serves as a haunting reminder of innocence lost. Children unknowingly playing in a radioactive snowfall that altered the rest of their lives. A team from the YouTube channel Hunting the Dead decided to try the Randonautica app, the one that directs users to random and sometimes unsettling mounting places. This time it guided them to an empty back road where they came across something disturbing. A doll tucked beneath a rock. Curious, they picked it up and later used a spirit box to see whether anything might be connected to it. The responses suggested something negative was attached.
Is there something evil or demonic attached to this doll, like my friend thinks? What? I say yes?
But even with those warnings, they still chose to take the doll home. It leaves the question, why would anyone bring back a doll that had been intentionally left deep in the woods? While staying at a cabin in the woods, a woman found a strange object.
I have a question. What the hell is this? What the hell is this? Right? It's got like little wings or whatever. I saw it. I thought it was like a flower petal, but clearly it's not. What is it? I don't think praying mantis. So if anyone's got a clue, I'm very invested in finding out what that is.
With wing-like shapes that she couldn't identify. She shared it online, but no one seemed to know what it was, leading some to speculate about something mythical. Soon after, another clip surfaced of a hiker seeing something odd that moved too fast to recognize. Whatever these things were, they left viewers with more questions than answers. If you know what they might be, tell us. Late at night on a deserted road, an Uber driver noticed something strange on his dash cam. A small figure stood in the middle of the lane, possibly a child. He slowed down, switched on his high beams, and the shape became clearer. A child-sized figure, wearing only a diaper and holding a stick, standing alone in the dark. The driver insisted the footage was real and shared proof from both his dash cam and his Uber trip log. Just 2 minutes afterward, he was stopped by police for a broken headlight and told the officer exactly what he had seen and where. He later posted the story on Reddit, saying that although the video is unclear, it was unmistakably a child in person. Was the child in danger? Or was it some kind of setup? And what would you have done in that moment? A man was hiking through isolated terrain in the middle of the night when he suddenly encountered something unsettling. He froze, breathing hard, his flashlight shaking as it illuminated a figure in the distance. Then it started to move, crawling backward up the slope. Whether it was an elaborate prank or something far stranger, no one can say, and honestly, some would rather not know. While hiking in Mexico, someone recorded something unusual. A star-shaped object drifting slowly behind the bushes. Some thought it was just a balloon or possibly a drone moving through the air, while others believed it was something much stranger. No one can say for sure what it was, but the sight left the hiker wondering if they had witnessed something extraordinary. This next clip comes from a YouTube user known as Forest Fire Number 21. It was recorded around 2 a.m. in December 2014. The video is nearly pitch black, but the audio is what makes it unsettling. The uploader lives beside a forest, and the sounds came from deep within the trees. It resembles a child screaming, and if you listen carefully, there's also a faint voice of a man calling out, asking where someone is. The child sounds like they're crying, possibly calling for their father, as if something was wrong. In the days that followed, the uploader kept checking the news for answers, but nothing was ever reported. It truly sounded like someone needed help. He didn't mention whether he contacted authorities, so the rest is unknown. All we can hope is that whoever was out there that night ended up safe, and that the real story ended better than the recording implies. A man was wandering through the woods looking for old artifacts, filming his quiet morning as he explored. Everything seemed peaceful until he knelt down to pick something off the ground.
Ringneck. 2 ringnecks. Oh, they're getting away. Oh my goodness.
When the camera shifted closer, a cottonmouth snake appeared, only inches from his arm. Cottonmouths are venomous, and their bite can cause intense pain, swelling, tissue damage, and other serious complications. While it's rarely fatal if a healthy adult receives quick treatment, it still demands immediate medical care. The man had no idea how close he was to real danger. One wrong movement, and his calm search could have turned into a life-threatening emergency, far from help. A Facebook user posted a family photograph that had been sitting on their grandparents' shelf for as long as they could remember. It showed their aunt and uncle's household in Rhode Island. Everything looked normal until one Thanksgiving, when a cousin spotted something odd in the window behind them. A man was standing there. No one in the family had ever recognized him. They asking about the figure. Uncle Jay said he had no clue who it was. He confirmed no one else had been present when the picture was taken back in 1977, though he did admit that plenty of strange things happened in that house. Their aunt and uncle moved out more than 2 decades ago, and until the cousins noticed the figure, no one realized he was in the picture. Now the photo has turned into a family ghost tale, one that still comes up every time they visit their grandparents' home. He and his friends arrived at their campsite late at night when one of them suddenly leaned on the horn. They turned and saw a strange woman climbing onto the car roof, whispering about the kids, even though none were there.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. We have to move because of this.
She hissed, lunged toward them, and then ran into the woods. The group left immediately. Whether it was a prank or something else, bending a car roof and acting like that didn't feel harmless, and they never figured out who she was or where she came from. These guys were fishing in the forest when they stumbled onto something strange.
We're behind the shooting range and we're like back in the middle of nowhere. And there's like fucking lights and shit up here. And the trees, like, what the hell?
Alright, be quiet. We're going up here. We're going to check it out.
Dude, this is the trippiest footage.
Curious, they went closer and found lights set up deep in the woods, far from anything else. The scene felt bizarre, almost cult-like, yet there was no one around. It might have been some kind of hidden rave, but with the lights still on in the middle of nowhere, the whole thing felt unsettling. During a night investigation in a dark forest, the team left their spirit communication device running as they continued deeper along the trail.
Spirit talker. See what we get on this. I'm going to leave the app running and stick it in my pocket so I can use my torch because it's absolutely pitch black.
Can you come close to us and make these lights go off, please? That's how we know that you're here around us.
You can use the device here in my pocket to talk to us.
Beware of the dark.
Beware of the dark.
Thanks for that. We're in the middle of the forest now.
In the
Could have told
dark.
us down there.
Yeah.
Well, you're on the main road.
Why do we need to beware? Is there somebody here that we should beware of?
The atmosphere quickly shifted. Whispers and distant voices echoed around them, making them wonder if someone was following. Reports of strange sightings in the area only heightened their unease.
Is there somebody following us? A lot of different people have seen strange things in this forest. Are you one of those things? What was that a minute ago? Hello? Hello? I just saw you. We're just here for a walk. We're not going to do anything, just shout back so we know you're there. That was a person. Hey?
I wasn't looking that way.
Oh, there's a car coming down the thingy trail. What's he doing down here? There's been no cars from down here the whole time we've been here.
A sudden movement revealed a figure in the trees, and moments later, a vehicle appeared on a remote road where none had passed all night.
What? That was a scream! Holy shit, David!
What scream?
Did you hear the woman scream?
Yeah.
David's walking up. He's walking up the road. He's going to the road. Get in the car. Oh shit. Open the door. Get in the car. Get in the car. A woman's just pissed and screamed and he's just creeping down the road, Law. Look at him, he's there. He's there on the road.
Right, get him, film him.
David, pull off. What do you mean? Start the car.
Then a scream rang out in the distance. Almost immediately after, a man with a flashlight emerged, walking silently toward them. They locked themselves inside their car as he continued approaching, realizing he had likely been watching them long before they noticed. Was he connected to the scream they'd heard? While hiking through the forest early one foggy morning, this man noticed something strange. A dark human-like figure standing just at the edge of the woods. It just stood there, still and silent. There was something unsettling about it. Was it just a natural shape that happened to look human? Or was there something more going on in those woods that morning? Back in 1994, a woman and her family were camping near the deep woods of Columbia County, Ohio, when a long, chilling howl cut through the silence around midnight. It was loud enough to wake everyone and unsettling enough that they packed up to leave immediately. Before they left, they managed to record the sound. It didn't match any known animal. Deep, drawn out, and shifting pitch halfway through, almost as if it were trying to communicate. Some thought it was a wolf, others a person, but wildlife experts had no clear match. The clip later became known as the Ohio Howl, often cited as potential Bigfoot evidence. Then in July 2022, another strange howl was recorded in Ohio. followed soon after by a similar submission from a Reddit user in the same region. So what do you think? Ordinary wildlife or something more mysterious? While spending time in the Appalachian Mountains, a woman was suddenly startled awake by a sharp noise just outside her place. Curious and uneasy, she stepped out to see what caused it, only to find the porch completely empty. As she began to turn back inside, the sound struck again, just as loud and just as close. The repeated disturbance left her questioning what was actually happening. Was someone deliberately trying to scare her, or was it something she couldn't easily explain? While cleaning out an old homeless encampment deep in the woods, Reddit user HollyWhizzle311 discovered something unsettling. Among the scattered trash and abandoned belongings was a worn wooden cross, and attached to it was something that looked disturbingly like a piece of spine. There was no note, no explanation, and no one nearby. Whatever happened there left far more questions than answers. A student at Penn State captured a photo of an unidentified creature in the woods near campus on May 15, 2023. Given the region's history of unusual events, like the well-known UFO incident in nearby Kecksburg, where an acorn-shaped object reportedly crashed and was swiftly secured by authorities, it doesn't sound impossible. Penn State is also associated with several haunted locations, including Schwab Auditorium, where people have claimed to see apparitions and experience unexplained activity. With that background, the strange photo may not be as far-fetched as it first appears. Lizzie, who loved taking remote hikes, had read countless unsettling stories connected to the Appalachian Mountains. Curious, she and her friend Alexandria rented a quiet cabin near the woods.
Mike!
That night around 2 a.m., they were startled awake when someone outside shouted, "Ayuda," the Spanish word for help, followed seconds later by gunshots. They froze, remembering the warnings they'd heard, and stayed silent. Should they have tried to help? Or was remaining quiet the safest choice, following the unspoken rules of the Appalachian Trail? Sydney, a solo traveler, returned to one of her early campsites deep in the Appalachian woods. When she arrived, the area was completely deserted. She set up her gear and started cooking rice and chicken when a strange noise echoed through the trees.
Is that?
Despite the unsettling sound, she chose to stay the night, and fortunately, nothing else happened. In March 2022, two young men ventured into the Appalachian Mountains, hoping for a peaceful night of camping. They chose a remote area near an abandoned train bridge, expecting little more than wind and passing wildlife. But soon after setting up camp, they began hearing unfamiliar noises coming from the darkness.
It's hard to tell with the wind, but it almost sounded like
Something definitely made some kind of noises over there. So we're gonna check it out. Occasionally snowmobilers come through here. But other than that, it's pretty remote. This is an abandoned train bridge. Okay. I almost kind of don't want to go back over there. My brother said he heard some weird things. But that's pretty weird. I've never heard a grizzly bear sound like that before. Whew. You got like chills going down your spine? Yup. I hope the camera got that. Oh baby. Okay, I don't even want to go. I don't even want to. What the hell was that?
At first, they blamed the wind or a distant animal, until the sounds grew sharper and closer, nothing like anything they had heard before. Driven by curiosity, they moved toward the source, only to realize the noise belonged to something far more aggressive than they expected.
Go. That's pretty loud. That's close.
Okay. I don't. Okay. Oh, go. It's coming. Oh, crap. Wait, don't, wait. Go, wait. Holy, I think I saw it. Go.
As the creature closed in, they chose to run rather than rely on the small knives they carried. Their camping plans ended abruptly as they escaped the forest unharmed. Some viewers later speculated the footage could have been staged, but the raw panic in their reaction suggests otherwise. Whatever the truth, it's an encounter neither of them will forget. YouTuber Joey CTV set out to explore an abandoned house in the forest alone. As he ventured in, he called out, "No response."
Is anybody upstairs? Speak now. That doesn't mean that they'll speak. I just heard something. Hey, if somebody's up there, I am simply taking pictures. If you identify yourself now, I'll leave.
Then out of nowhere, something happened. He heard movement upstairs. Someone or something was definitely up there. As he continued to explore, this happened.
There's somebody walking upstairs. Who's walking upstairs?
Somebody walking upstairs. He decided to check it out, and that's when it happened. A sudden noise that was enough. He ran out of the house, shaken and unsure of what he had just experienced. Was it just a squatter or something paranormal? For 2 nights, a family kept hearing screams coming from the forest. They tried to dismiss it, until the sound moved onto their roof.
Oh, damn. Holy shit. All right. Son of a bitch just went on the other side of the house.
Some suggested skinwalkers, others a wild animal or mountain lion. But things grew stranger when they found an animal skeleton on the opposite side of the house with no blood or clear cause. With no updates since, the mystery remains unsolved. Hiker M.A. Journey set out to reach an old hunter's cabin tucked deep in the mountains. But as nightfall approached, he realized he was still far from it. Fortunately, he came across an abandoned tree shelter just in time and decided to camp there instead. That choice likely saved him. Before long, a pack of wolves began circling the area. Had he continued toward the cabin in the dark, the outcome might have been very different. A Reddit user once posted what seemed like an ordinary forest photo, just dry leaves and scattered twigs. But a closer look revealed a copperhead snake blended almost perfectly into the ground. One misplaced step on that quiet hike could have led to a very different outcome. A girl practicing scream therapy let out a loud yell deep in the woods, and immediately after, a man unexpectedly stepped into view. Clearly startled and caught in the middle of relieving himself. The timing was flawless, and the panic on his face was unmistakably real. While hiking the Appalachian Trail, a Reddit user came across something unusual. A pair of wings, likely from a pileated woodpecker, tied together with fishing line. They were attached to a pine cone that had been wedged into a tree trunk. It didn't seem accidental, it looked deliberately placed. He couldn't help wondering why someone would do that. Was it part of a ritual or a warning? A family snapped a few casual photos, nothing out of the ordinary. But when they reviewed them later, something unusual appeared. In several images, a faint figure showed up, resembling a ghostly bride. No one recalled seeing anyone there at the moment the photos were taken. Some believe it was simply light playing tricks on the camera, while others think the family may have photographed an actual spirit. Xander, an experienced camper, headed out on a solo trip deep into the woods. He found a rare flat clearing and built a basic shelter with a tarp and a few branches. After making a fire and eating a quiet steak dinner, he relaxed under the stars, watching distant lightning flicker on the horizon. Hours later, the night shifted. From the forest came faint, human-like cries. Nothing resembling an animal or the wind. The sounds grew louder and seemed to move closer. At first light, he packed up and left immediately. Even now, he has no idea what shared the woods with him that night. Dustin Frazier, a TikTok creator, and a friend set out to explore Elk Mount in the Appalachian Mountains, an abandoned area known for ghost stories and unsettling legends. But things went sideways quickly.
Now she fucking works, okay. Maybe she's just cold. I'm cold. A closet. Just no. Toilet. That's not a toilet. They don't be turning it like that. Did you see me? Oh, lights out again. Chad, is this where people... there's a hot water heater back there. But also, my question is, what are they trying to keep out? You're like bears. Fucking bears.
Fucking black bears, yeah. North American black bears. They're nosy little fuckers.
The building's lights began to flicker without explanation. Odd sounds echoed through the rooms, and the layout raised disturbing questions about what the old residents might have been trying to keep out.
Don't learn just...
As the tension built, a sudden noise sent them into a panic. They bolted for the exit, only to spot a figure watching them as they ran.
What the fuck? Go, 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 go.
Where the fuck did it go?
They sprinted to their car, sped off, and still saw the mysterious figure appearing again along the way. Whether it was an elaborate prank or a genuine encounter, They left certain of one thing. They were not alone on Elk Mount that night. A hiker was recording his walk when a bear suddenly began chasing their dogs. Realizing the danger, they acted fast and deployed bear spray, which stopped the animal and forced it to back off. Thanks to the quick reaction, both the hikers and their dogs escaped unharmed. A couple camping near the Carnton Plantation in Franklin, Tennessee, decided to tour the historic grounds and take a few photos, including one that captured something unexpected. In the image, they noticed a faint, transparent figure resembling a woman from the Civil War era. Nothing was in the field at the time that could have caused the appearance. When they asked locals, they learned the field had once been the site where many bodies were placed after the battle. Some believe the figure may be a grieving woman still searching for someone she lost, a tragic and haunting possibility. While hiking in the mountains, a group noticed something unusual moving along a distant ridge. Curious, they began recording and zoomed in with their phones. The figure appeared to walk upright, yet seemed far too large to be a person. Unfortunately, the footage was distant and blurry, leaving no clear answer as to what they actually saw. While watching a wildfire sweep across the hills near Henry's Creek on her Idaho property, Jeanette MP captured something unsettling on camera. Examined the footage. A dark, shadow-like form appeared to hover above a tree. She didn't think it was smoke or light distortion. She believed it resembled a guardian angel watching over the firefighters below. More than 50,000 acres of her land were burning, yet that mysterious figure lingered in her mind far more than the devastation. She eventually named it the Fireman's Guardian. While hiking deep in the Appalachian Mountains, someone stumbled upon something unsettling. In a quiet clearing surrounded by tall trees stood a strange, almost ritual-like structure. Curious, they took a photo. But later, when reviewing the image, they noticed something they hadn't seen before, a dark figure standing among the trees, watching. They were certain no one else had been there. They believed they were completely alone, or so they thought. So who, or what, had been observing them that day? Reddit user IndividualInsect72 received a Ring camera notification early one morning. Expecting to spot an animal, they opened the footage, and instead saw a person dressed entirely in white wandering around their property. They had recently moved to a remote location with no neighbors, no foot traffic, and a fenced home sitting alone on a wooded hill. They had felt uneasy before, but this took things to another level. So who was out there, and how did they manage to get onto the property? Someone staying in a mountain cabin captured something truly unsettling. At first, the footage looked like a spider crawling across a surface, but a closer look revealed something far more disturbing. The spider wasn't alive. It was being controlled by a parasitic fungus known as cordyceps, the same organism that inspired the infection in The Last of Us. Once cordyceps infects its host, it overtakes the body and brain, turning the creature into a puppet until the fungus eventually kills it. The most chilling part is that the spider has no awareness it's being controlled, continuing to move even as it slowly dies. Brand, a solo YouTuber hiking the Appalachian Trail, started his day early after a peaceful night's rest. The terrain was challenging, but the scenery made it worthwhile. Later, he scouted a stealth campsite hidden deep in the woods.
Hey, talk about creepy. I was just down at that stealth site there checking it out, talking about it, and I heard and saw a hiker coming down the trail. And I thought I'd stay at the campsite and wait for the hiker to pass. And the hiker never passed, and there's nobody here, and it's freaking me out right now. I've got chills up and down my spine. And I saw a person with a pack on, wearing hiking clothes. There's no way they passed me. Yeah, this is weird. I'm getting out of this spot. I'm telling you, that's if the animal den wasn't enough. You know, this is the spot where I thought I saw somebody. You know, honestly, that's the second time today that's happened. And the first time is when I was sawing that log, and I looked over and I was like, oh, someone's coming up the trail. The log will be sawed for them when they get here, and there was never anybody there. And I think I might have just saw a leaf. I don't know.
He thought he saw another hiker coming down the trail, a person with a pack and typical hiking clothes. He stepped aside to let them pass, but no one ever appeared. The area was empty. The experience sent chills through him, especially because it wasn't the first time that day. Earlier, while cutting a log, he believed someone was approaching the trail, yet no one showed. The second sighting left him unsettled enough that he chose not to remain at the campsite. Whatever he had seen, or thought he'd seen, Brand decided it was best to keep moving. A few weeks ago, 4 friends returned to an abandoned castle deep in the woods, a place where strange things had happened before. They came prepared with lights, cameras, and a cross. As soon as they entered, the air shifted. A heavy pressure, full-body chills, and an immediate sense of unease settled over them. On the stairs, their cameras later revealed a shadowy figure peeking around a corner, something they didn't notice at the time. Still, they pressed on to the attic, where soft whispers began to echo, sounding like a woman's voice. On their way back to the car, they spotted horned, glowing yellow eyes staring from a window. Terrified, they fled. To this day, they still don't know what they saw. A TikToker went on a solo camping trip in the Appalachian Mountains, planning to film content for her followers. But during the night, she suddenly woke around 3:44 a.m. to extremely loud, ritual-like music blasting through the forest.
I had the weirdest experience of my life last night. While sleeping in my tent, I woke up at 3:44 to some extremely loud music playing in the middle of the forest. Spiritual type stuff. It was so loud. It was like a religious stadium had music playing at 3:44 in the morning or something. I don't know how to explain it. It went on for hours and it freaked me the F out. I seriously was like, did I die? Don't go too far.
The sound was strange, spiritual, and far too... It lasted for hours, leaving her frightened and unsure whether something was happening near her campsite. No one wants to hear strange, ritual-like music while camping alone in the dark. Some believe it came from a distant group, while others think it was a ritual or someone trying to scare people. If it were you, would you stay put or get out fast? Katie, a TikToker camping in the Appalachian Mountains, briefly met a couple searching for a lost ring. They declined her help, but the man returned several times, acting strangely. Later that night, he somehow contacted her despite never giving him her number, sending unexpected messages and asking to visit her campsite. Hours after dark, things escalated.
It's 2 o'clock in the morning and I just had the scariest thing ever happen, and I should have gone with my gut on this. This kid and his girlfriend were next to me at the river earlier. They seemed harmless. They were probably like in their mid to late 20s. They didn't say anything to me at all the entire time I was next to them, and then all of a sudden they lost this ring, and the guy kept coming back, like hiking all the way back to where I was, like 3 different times. I asked him, do you want me to take down your number? I'm gonna be here just in case I find the ring. And I asked him this like 3 times, and he kept saying no and like insisted that I hide it somewhere random. And I just had this feeling that something was off. And then 2 hours later, he texts me, thanks for helping us earlier. Do you want me to, can we come over later to your campsite and have drinks? And I was like, literally like, sorry, but like, how did you get my phone number? And he was like, it was on the back of your rig. No, it's not. How did you know what rig I drive? I swear to God, we never talked about it. My phone number's not on the back of my rig. And he's like, oh, I saw your Instagram handle. I called my best friend. Can you get my phone number from my Instagram? She's like, no. I had this gut feeling that something was wrong. He texted me again at like 10 o'clock at night and was like, hey, we're gonna go for a moonlight hike. Do you want to come? And I just had this gut feeling that I needed to leave here, but I was like, they're so young. And then just now, this motherfucker, I literally wake up. I just hear somebody out. I'm in the woods by myself camping. I hear somebody outside of my truck just creeping around, and I look out. There's a fucking figure of a man outside of my window in the woods, and he doesn't have a light on. He's not saying anything. And I was like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, is this Katie? I fell in the river. I need a towel. Why didn't you say anything? Why am I waking up to hearing you creeping around my truck in the pitch black without making yourself known? And he just ran. He like ran away.
While sleeping in her truck, she woke to someone moving around outside. The same man stood by her vehicle with no light, no warning, and tried to get into the cab. His explanation didn't match anything he'd said earlier, leaving her frightened enough to call the police.
Okay, it's now 5 a.m. I just got police escorted out of the woods because there was a man outside of my camper staring into my window in the forest at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Officers escorted her out of the woods at dawn. What would have happened if she hadn't woken up? Some believe the man used the Ring story as a cover to watch her. Others think he may have pulled her number from social media. If someone approached your campsite like that, would you confront them or leave instantly? A man went on a solo camping trip in the Appalachian Mountains. The evening began peacefully as he set up his tent and settled into the quiet of the forest. But that calm faded when he noticed a dark, indistinct figure shifting at the edge of his vision. He tried to ignore it, yet the unease grew. The shape lingered just long enough to raise the question he couldn't shake. Was it simply another camper in the woods, or something far more unsettling hiding in the shadows? Foul Mitten, a YouTuber known for his hunting and fishing adventures, encountered something far different from his usual outdoor content. One night, unusual sounds, heavy steps and movement in the leaves, echoed from the woods near his home.
They're all over the damn place again tonight. Okay, I'm gonna keep walking towards it. Might actually get to capture something here.
When he went outside to investigate, he spotted a strange figure at the tree line.
All right, whatever you are, you need to leave. Stay out of this place. This is our home. This is our home. You need to leave. You leave now. Gonna come around for a little bit. I think that'll keep it away for a while. Oh God, I hope that does it. I really do.
Feeling increasingly unsettled, he tried to drive it away and eventually fired a warning shot to keep it from coming closer. The forest fell silent, but the brief footage he managed to capture only deepened the mystery. The figure appeared partly human, yet its eyes glowed unnaturally in the dark. Nothing further happened that night, but the unease lingered long after the encounter.
Just taking another rest.
Can't see anything.
The remains of the plane.
Yes! And there it is. Right where I left it.
On September 24th, 2024, Madison Clydesdale, creator of a channel rooted in solo hiking and quiet wilderness travel, stepped into the deep backcountry of British Columbia, with only her dog, Cairo, beside her. Her goal was simple but unsettling: reach the wreckage of a historic plane crash hidden in grisly territory. The trail itself looked calm enough, but the silence of those mountains carried a weight she couldn't quite name. Madison began her journey driving along rough back roads, pushing deeper into the British Columbia wilderness as she explained her plan to reach the abandoned plane wreck.
I wish I brought my day pack, but we're gonna have to work with what we got. And as usual, into grizzly territory we go. I haven't been in grizzly territory by myself basically all summer, so it is always a little bit nerve-wracking at first. This trail actually has a plane crash. It's a memorial trail at the top. It's one of the largest known plane crashes in the area, or maybe in British Columbia. So we're gonna check out the plane crash. Hero is so full of energy today. I like the quieter trails so that he can go off leash. These look brand new, these side railings. Okay, I'm coming. This was one of the first areas that I went hiking when I first moved to British Columbia. I was with my mom. You guys would have seen her in some of my other videos, but I got really scared. I didn't know enough about bears, so just got in my head and I started like having a little breakdown on trail. I was just certain that we were gonna see a grizzly. And now look at where we are, almost 3 years later. You guys look.